Oh, oh, oh. Hello, it is I, the Frenchiest fry, and your favorite otter, and here I am, drawing Marzana, my D&D character, who is an Aarakocra bard. She is based off of an Andean condor, and she's also a raging lesbian. What's up, Smeedout? How you doing? Welcome, welcome. I hope your time zone is going well. I should also probably send out my stream notifications before I get too deep into it and completely forget. I was gonna guess Bardlamau. Bardbird. Yeah, she plays trumpet. Don't ask me how she plays trumpet without lips. She just does. She also technically has a glass jar, but like I've never used that. And I have like a custom item. It's a wondrous item. And it's this orb basically that I can turn into literally any fucking instrument. And I like to turn it into like a DJ table so I can go wicka wicka. And yeah. So, that... It can also turn into any weapon that I have proficiency in, which is pretty sick. And allows me to use my charisma for an attack instead of my strength. Which is good for a bard. Big bard bird guys, beignets for brunch. Fuck yeah. Yeah, I like Marzana a lot as a character. I haven't been doing my D&D sessions for like the past couple of weeks because I've just been fucking dead tired, but tonight I'm planning to join back in and I get to be mean to all of my party members because plot. I don't exactly know what the DM has planned, but he was like, do you feel comfortable being mean to everybody? And I was like, yeah, obviously. So, we'll see what happens. Isn't Marzana like a type of cheese? I think I'm thinking of marzipan. Yeah. Marzana is like a... I actually did a lot of research into the name. Marzana is a name that's in a couple of different cultures. And it's associated with, like, death. And also, with, like, winter time. And I was like, well, she's a cold-hearted bitch. And, like, Andean condors eat flesh. Like, dead people. So... I thought it was a cool fucking name, but... She also has a sick-ass rapier, as you can see. I'm actually, like, very proud with this design that I did for her. I think her design is very fucking cool. What fail do you ever? To be associated with death and wintertime in other cultures, literally. I was like, I need a cool fucking name for my character. But yeah, she's a big bird lady. Raging lesbian. Hates men, but it's kind of ironic because all of her party members are men. But she only joined the party because she was like, these guys are fucking idiots. I bet I can swindle them out of money. So I am probably like the one person in the party that has like the most amount of gold at any given time. She also has IBS and shits very frequently. It's made for it's made for some interesting plot points. But yeah, she's fucking cool. And I've done, like, art for everyone else's character, and I waited to do Marzana to the very last because I just wanted to get all of the free art done. And then, like, drawing my own characters is just, like, whatever. Like, I enjoy drawing my own characters. But, yeah. Oh, yeah, I went, to my doctor's today. And, I asked to be screened for autism spectrum disorder. And I was like, yeah, my mom and my sister got diagnosed within like the past 5 years. I've always kind of suspected that I'm on the spectrum somewhere. I don't entirely know where. So if you could like refer me to a psychiatrist or like give me some sort of test here. So he was like, okay, sure thing, blah, blah, blah. And then he's like, what is your motivation for getting diagnosed? He's like, you've gone this far. And I was like, well, I want to know if it's a variant that can be medicated or not. And if it is a variant that can be medicated, I would like to try some sort of medication because I feel like it would benefit me. I'm currently dealing with a lot of fucking burnout. And I think being medicated would help ease my anxiety and depression. Because I told my doctors, like, I've already been diagnosed with anxiety and depression by a specialist. That was back in high school. But I'm starting to get the feeling that it might be a smaller, like, a small detail of, like, the bigger picture. So. Still think about when I made my first D&D character, Barbados Slim from Futurama, and instantly nat 20'd the first interaction and seduced an innkeeper into a free night stay for the party. Hell yeah. Marzana basically, like, forced the entire party to save this, like, brass dragon. Because she realized that it was a lady brass dragon, and she's like, awooga. And then she totally fumbled, bagging the baddie. And she had, like, an anime moment where she, like, face-planted into her titties as well, so. But she also, like, flirted with basically Satan, but girl, to save one of the party members' souls. And now we get to kill a politician that we hate. There's a politician that, like, scammed the party out of money. He was like, man, I'll give you money if you guys do this. And then he didn't give us any money, and Marzana was really pissed about it, so she punched him in the face and broke his jaw. Which I nat 20'd on, by the way. I gave everybody in, like, the session, I gave him ample time to try and stop Marzana, but they're like, no, let's see what happens. So, she punched him and broke his jaw, and then everybody got in jail. And then, Marzana was singing blues, and she was like, I fucking hate this place. And then, like, almost died to getting stabbed by one of the guards that didn't like her singing. What got your mom, of all people, to get that diagnosis? I thought she thought autism spectrum disorder was Generation Zoomer liberal bullshit. So, my mom got TikTok, and then TikTok told mom that she was autistic. But also, like, my mom is, like, low-key. Maybe I shouldn't say this on stream, but, like, low-key, my mom is, like, the kind of person to get addicted to, like, prescription drugs. Like, she used to be on a shit ton of pain meds and stuff, and then, her doctors were basically like, we're not gonna give you more. So she's been flagged for, like, drug-seeking behavior and stuff. And it is kind of, like, shitty, but also kind of, like, ironic and funny. But she's even like, oh yeah, like, I need to get more, like, I need to get my dosage up, like, it's not doing enough. So, TikTok, god damn it. Yeah, like, I'm not gonna lie, like, I can't really shit talk too much, like, I fear TikTok also, like, helped open my eyes more to, like, other, like, common autistic people's struggles. And then it kind of made me be like, I've always suspected that I was on the spectrum somewhere. But then, like, the more that I learned about autism spectrum disorder, and, like, the more I interacted with people that are actually diagnosed in the community, and, like, seeing the stuff that they post, and, like, just relating heavily to a lot of it, and finding a lot of their coping mechanisms and methods helpful for me, I was just like, I always like to say that I'm not diagnosed, but I'm peer-reviewed. Because, well, you already know this, but, like, a majority of my friends are diagnosed on the spectrum. And it was one of my friends that actually, like, I was chatting to, and he's like, yeah, you're, like, definitely on the spectrum, and you should probably get medicated because it'll change your life. And I was like, don't tell me that. Don't tell me it'll change my life. Like, so. I'm gonna fail my own song track. It's okay. My boss just called and I missed, like, 2 minutes. I'm sorry. No, you're good. I was just saying that, like, I can't really shit talk too much because, like, TikTok, like, the autistic community on TikTok has definitely, like, opened my eyes to, like, a lot of, like, yeah, like, this is how autism, like, presents in women, kind of thing. And, like, finding out that, oh, like, a lot of these coping methods that I figured out for myself are, like, the same things that autistic people do for themselves already. And just, like, basically, like, the more that I learned about autism and, like, autism spectrum, like, I've always suspected I was on this, oh my god, suspected I was on the spectrum somewhere. However, I was just kind of like, I have bills to pay, I'm a bit too busy to be caring about that, if that makes sense. But, like, as I am getting older, and there's a lot of variables to this as well, like, it could just be my shitty diet and, like, the fact that I'm not sleeping properly and stuff, but I've been dealing with a lot of extreme fatigue, and, like, I fear that my anxiety and depression is heightened. And I think that my anxiety and depression is probably a symptom of being undiagnosed, unmedicated autism spectrum disorder. So. Short-form content is good at, like, pushing ideas forward in a way long-form YouTube videos never did, be it good or bad ideas. Yeah. There's definitely a lot of things that I learned from TikTok that I otherwise would have never come across because of the way that, you know, like, YouTube's algorithm works or, like, whatever. So I've definitely, like, learned a lot. And I've been exposed to a lot more ideas and communities that make me think a bit more, which is a good thing. Excuse me. Fuck. Yeah, muscling through all of life isn't a great idea. Yeah, so, like, my biggest thing was, like, the biggest thing that was preventing me from getting a diagnosis earlier on is just the fact that I didn't really feel like I needed to be diagnosed. But now I'm, like, again, like, my one friend was the one that was like, no, like, you should probably get diagnosed and, like, maybe get medicated if that's something that would help. And I was like, oh, cool. Because he's like, yeah, like, it's going to be life-changing for you. You're going to be laser-focused and you're going to be able to do all the shit you want to do. And I'm like, sick. So I've been just playing. I'm like scared to actually get medicated because on one hand, it's going to be like, hell yeah, like, I'm finally getting the support I need. But on the other hand, it's going to be like, damn, I definitely should have, like, this should have been noticed earlier. And I think the reason why my teachers never clocked me in particular is because I wasn't disruptive during class like my older sister and my older brother was, because they both were clocked early on by their high school teachers. They were like, yeah, they're fucking ADHD's fuck. Whereas I never was because I wasn't disruptive, but I did drop out of high school, and thinking about that, it was probably a combination of a lot of things, but like, academic burnout was definitely, like, a big part of it, I fear. So, yeah. Retroactive bias is such a bitch, but we're still young. Best time was yesterday, second best time is today. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. I just... Yeah, it's just, like, it's gonna be annoying, because, like, I'm gonna be really pissed off if because, like, I only did, like, what's the word? Like, pre-screening, I guess. And then my doctor was like, yeah, I think you might be ADHD. He's like, but if we'll get you to fill out this little questionnaire. Like, he asked me some questions, and then he was like, yeah, if I feel like you need a referral, like, I'll refer you, or, like, if you want a referral, I'll refer you to a psychiatrist, and then you can get, like, a proper diagnosis. So I was like, cool. But yeah, like, I'm gonna be pissed if and when I get a diagnosis and if and when I get medicated, if it really is that big of a difference, because I'll be like, well, I spent nearly 30 years of my life just playing life on hard mode when it didn't fucking need to be. But, like, better late than never, I suppose. Ideally, what I would like is that it helps ease my anxiety and depression a little bit. And again, there's other variables at play here. Like, again, I'm not eating the best of diets, and I'm not exercising as much as I should. But, you know, I'm doing my best with the energy and the time that I have to be doing things like that, so. It be like that. Ugh. But yeah, I don't, and like, my sister was like, what do you mean, like, he didn't just diagnose you with ADHD and give you meds? Because apparently she went in and she was just like, yeah, I have ADHD, and my doctor was like, okay. And I was like, well, that's kind of odd, but whatever. What's up, Depending? How are you doing? Welcome, welcome. Hope you're having a great time zone. Oh, God. But yeah, I will definitely keep chat updated about my diagnosis journey. Doing good? Hell yeah. What you doing, bulges? I went and got my taxes done for like the past 2 years, so I'm hoping that my return comes in quicker, sooner rather than later, because I need to get my car fixed. It needs an alignment and an oil change. My wheels actually almost fell off. Okay, so my winter tires were like basically bald, and I was waiting to change them because the weather where I'm at is like very fucky. Like, one day it's nice and sunny and like 15 degrees out, and then the next day it's fucking cold and like -5 and like freezing rain and snowing a little bit. So I was like, I don't know if I want to change to my summer tires right away, because like, I know, like, bald tires are bad and blah, 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 but, like, I was like, I'd rather have a little bit bald winter tires rather than switch to my summer tires and be slip-sliding around. But then we changed my tires, and it turns out that my summer tires are actually all-season tires. But when we were changing them, we didn't make sure they were perfectly flush. And I guess it wasn't torqued enough. So, because it wasn't torqued enough, the back wheels almost fell off, which was interesting. Thankfully they didn't come off, because that would have caused a whole shitload of other problems, but I felt bad for Jimmy because he was driving me to work, and then I had to walk the rest of the way to work, and he just pulled into the closest parking lot and had to, like, search on the road for the lug nuts and stuff, but he fixed it all up, which was sick. Red signal. What's up? How are you doing? I hope your time zone's treating you well. Hang on one second, what the fuck is going on? Sorry, mate. Greetings with diagnosis journey. May I ask, did I catch that wrong, by the way? Ain't it like insanely late where you're from? No, it's only like 6 p.m. for me. Also, my diagnosis journey for autism spectrum disorder, I highly suspect I am on the spectrum somewhere. I don't know if I have autism or ADHD or ADD or a combination of one or two of those things, or if I have something completely different. But I went to my doctor today and I was like, yeah, I think I'm on the spectrum. What do I do? And he was like, I'm gonna ask you some questions and then I'm gonna give you a little sheet. And if I feel like you need a referral, we'll get you a referral. And it's like, cool. After he asked me his questions, he was like, I think you might be ADHD. But I am not a psychiatrist. And I was like, okay. So. Yeah. I actually woke up early today. I was up at 9:30 in the morning. Normally I sleep in until like 1 or 2 p.m. But yeah, so autism diagnosis and all that jazz. You like jazz? I fear I'm dealing with chronic fatigue, and I think my theory is that it's from years and years of masking as an adult. I definitely showed a lot of neuroatypical symptoms when I was younger, and I feel like as I've gotten older, I've gotten a lot better at... what's the word? I've gotten a lot better at, like, masking and learning how to be neurotypical. But I definitely struggled with a lot of things as a child, and I feel like I should have been clocked, but I wasn't, because I wasn't disruptive and I wasn't failing my classes, but rather I was considered like the gifted kid, and then I got burnt out in high school and dropped out in high school. I'm an idiot. Canada's like 6 hours earlier than Germany. Sorry, I'm dumb. I have diagnosed ADHD. It's rather bad that I got it diagnosed so late. Probably could have done better in school had it been medicated. No, that's like the same thing for me. Like, I was fine in elementary school, but then once I hit high school, I would say like grade 10 is kind of when I realized like, oh, I actually have to study in a different way than I've been studying my entire life. And I can't just, you know, I can't just fuck around. Let's put it that way. And then once I realized that, a lot of my grades dropped. There was certain classes where like I was just fucking awesome at because I really enjoyed them. Namely, music class and woodworking. Those are my two favorite classes. I didn't have, like, terrible grades in my other classes. I would say that the class that I struggled the most was with math. But also, you're not dumb. Time zones are confusing. And there's too many of them. But yeah, like, I avoided getting diagnosed for a long time because my whole logic was, well, I've gone this long without medication. I am fine. But then, like, my friends who are diagnosed and medicated are like, no, like, you should get diagnosed and you should get medicated. It's life-changing. And I'm like, don't tell me it's life-changing. I don't want to hear that. Like, I know it's the truth, but I'm also just like, I don't want to hear that, because then that means, like, I've been living life on hard mode for no reason. What's up, Jamil? How you doing? Welcome, welcome. I hope you're having a great time zone. I just shut down and whenever they see that or I do that because of them, I am called insane. Oof. I fear that people will call you insane over, like, the smallest things, even if it's not a thing. You managed to survive that hell of a winter? Hell yeah. I'm happy to hear that. Yeah, it's starting to get a bit warmer here. It's still a little bit chilly, but it's not as bad as it has been. There was even some nice and sunny and warm days. I am excited and also dreading the summer at the same time. I'm excited because sun give me happy chemical in brain, but I'm also like climate change. It's gonna be really fucking hot, I fear. And I hate being sweaty. I absolutely despise being sweaty. I should have mentioned that to my doctor because he asked me about sensory issues that I have. I hate feeling sweaty. And I also don't like wearing tight-fitting clothes. I got really sick like 2 days after the stream I was in. Oof. Being sick is no fun. I don't like being sick. I'm sorry to hear that you got sick, but I am glad to hear that you're doing better, though. I will probably not survive tomorrow, I think. Why, what's tomorrow? I have the fucking Max Verstappen in my head right now. I don't even watch racing. I've been seeing too many Max Verstappen memes. Because there is a, I don't know what the demo is in English, protest. Oh, there's a protest against LGBTQA+. And to said protest, there's a counter-protest to which I will go, and sometimes that turns violent. Imagine caring what other people do behind closed doors in their bedroom. The only time that it's okay to care about that is if you're being a fucking weirdo and it's not between two consenting adults. Aside from that, like, why? But yeah, that is unfortunate, Red. I can understand why. Yeah. I don't think there's, like, any protests that are ever going on around in my area. I feel like most of the time people are pretty normal. We do have a lot of what I call Maple MAGA, though. Where they're like, yeah, I love Trump, even though Trump's literally a fucking pedophile. And, like, even if he wasn't, he's just a horrible person. But, like, I would say that, like, the most, like, anti, like, LGBT thing that I've seen is, so we have rainbow crosswalks, and there was a moment, well, there was two incidents. So we have a couple of rainbow crosswalks in town, and I think it was last year, somebody, or maybe it was multiple people, I don't know what happened with that, but there was someone or multiple people that went around town spray painting "Fear God" on the rainbow crosswalks. They were cleaned up. So there's that. And then there's been what's the word? Incidents of people taking businesses LGBT flags, like the pride flags, and then destroying them or just stealing them or whatever. Which is still really shitty and unfortunate, but I would say that, like, a protest where actual violence, like, not to say that, like, those messages aren't violent in a way, but, like, I mean, like, physical violence is a bit more scary than just, like, oh, like, let's tear up this flag, you know what I mean? Yeah. National Codes and Rights, we don't want that they press their sexuality beliefs onto us by PDA, also them 2 seconds later. Yeah. I've always hated the, like, like, don't shove your sexuality down our throat. But, like, if you're gonna say that, then at least be consistent about it. Like, no, I don't want to see anybody kissing them. No PDA at all. I don't care if you're straight or gay or whatever. But, like, I don't know. People are fucked. The world is fucked, unfortunately, I fear. I wish it wasn't, but... I do hope that tomorrow, doesn't turn physically violent. And that if it does, you and, of course, the pro-LGBT people are safe. I don't really give... this is gonna be kind of fucked up to say, but I don't really care about what happens to, shitty people if you are advocating for the harm of other people. Then, as far as I'm concerned, I don't really give a fuck what happens to you. And I'm really tired of, like, pretending, like, no, we have to be tolerant, no. I fucking hate the tolerant fucking paradox. You have to be intolerant of intolerant people. The whole, like, tolerance thing only works as a social contract to ensure that everybody is living a happy life. And once you are spreading hatred and shit like that, then as far as I'm concerned, you are breaking that contract, and you don't get to be like, no, you have to be tolerant of my hateful rhetoric. Like, no, fuck off. Go fuck yourself. Genuinely, I don't get it. Either be for PDA PDA or against it entirely, not nitpicking, like, what the hell? How fragile is your masculinity? Knows you and two guys kiss. Literally. Literally. Like, I personally don't like watching anybody, like, full-on making out in public. You know what? Like, a peck on the cheek, holding hands, that's one thing. But if you got your tongue down somebody else's throat, that's just uncomfortable for me. I don't want to see it. That being said, it still happens in some places. Am I gonna fucking go up to someone and be like, no. I'm just gonna fucking ignore it. The only time I might actually be like, is if fucking, you know, they're like actually like fucking on the table in a restaurant or something. That's inappropriate. But as far as I'm concerned, just don't be weird, like, you know what I mean? My former Latin teacher said Germany has one big problem: we are too tolerant to intolerance. Yeah. I fear that's like a big thing with like people that are centrists. They're like, no, we have to hear them out. And it's like, no, why would you hear out the person that's like, I hate these people, they aren't human, and I want them to like not live? Like, why are we letting, why would I listen to that? Why would anybody listen to that? There's no, like, well, like, they could have a point. Like, no. There's none of that. They don't have a point, and they never will have a point. Those people are miserable, and they want other people to be miserable. And they want to live in their perfect little world. Like, broski, if you want a perfect little world, go play Minecraft. Go play Minecraft. Go play single-player Minecraft. Also, like, I just genuinely don't understand, like, the whole, I'm seeing these two people in love, but oh no, they are the same sex. Or like, oh no, like, they're different races. Like, who fucking cares? Who cares? Genuinely, like, it's... I'm not saying to these people, like, yeah, you have to be gay, and you have to fuck people that you don't want to fuck. I'm not asking that. I'm asking them to just be a respectful person, and to not fucking be an asshole, but that's too much to ask for, apparently. Egotistical people wanting whatever without morals, so they personally have a better life getting the fuck about other people. Sorry, but centrism to me is just political illiteracy. As somebody who was, like, a self-identified centrist at one point, yeah, it is. Once you, like, actually start educating yourself and asking yourself uncomfortable questions and, like, breaking down why you have certain knee-jerk reactions to certain things, and, like, you start, like, actually expanding your worldview a little bit, yeah, like, it's just people that are, I would like, maybe this is a little, you know what, I don't even care. I would say being a centrist is pretty much just, like, A, admitting that you don't know what the fuck you're talking about when it comes to politics, and B, you're basically, like, what's that, like, phrase, like, if you aren't, I don't know what the phrase is, but, like, basically the gist that I'm getting at is, like, if you're not, like, openly against something, then you're siding with the enemy, or whatever the fuck. I don't know what the actual thing is. Yeah, my mom was very anti-gay. It didn't stop me from being gay. Oh, the irony. Also, hello, Superfanbot. I hope you're having a good time zone. I'm sorry to hear that your mother is, not a good person, but... My mom also, she was very, like... she was very, like, flip-flop with, like, gay stuff. She was like, well, like, I support the gays. Like, I just don't want to see it, though. She was, like, that kind of person. And then I remember one time she was trying to tell me, she was like, well, lesbians shouldn't be allowed in the women's change room. And then I was like, okay, well, what about bisexual people that are attracted to both people? Or, like, even just with lesbians, like, what are you gonna do? Stick them in a fucking, like, men's room? That's not fair to the lesbian woman. And I was like, what about people that are attracted to both genders? Or, like, every gender, I guess. I was like, what about people that are attracted to like, everybody? And then that's actually when I came out to her, and I was like, you know, like, I'm bisexual, right? Like, and then she was like, and then she tried to tell me that it was a phase, and I was like, fuck off. It is not. So. I'm technically pansexual, but I was introduced to the concept of bisexuality first. And when I was young, I didn't understand that gender is also a spectrum. And also, I like the bisexual flag colors more. But as far as I know, like, pansexuality is like... Or, like, bisexuality is, like, an umbrella term. And, like, pansexuality falls under the bisexual umbrella. But, yeah. I don't want to say they are evil for evil's sake, just too comfortable, not really caring enough. Yeah, like, I'm not saying that, like, centrists are, like, inherently evil, per se, but I will say that, like, fucking, the system of a down lyric, we can't afford to be neutral in a moving train. Like, if you... Like, the way that I see it is, like, a lot of centrists are very, like, spineless, and, like, they don't... What's the word? They don't, a lot of centrists are very, like, scared to upset people, and I feel like they're very easily swayed by, like, who is more annoying. Rather than, like, this is actually wrong, and, like, this is bad. And, like, I'm saying that as somebody that, when I was younger, I was like, yeah, I'm a centrist, like, why don't we hear L people? Why can't we all get along? And it's like, I didn't understand that, like, one side is literally advocating for, like, eugenics and, like, for people to be put into, like, conversion camps and, like, other shit. So, and then I educated myself on history and, like, how things like fascism came to be. And, yeah. My mother's a rightist moderate, but still, I took that on for, like, 12 to 14, then I started thinking for myself and started being a far-left punk. My political journey was an interesting one. And I will just say that, but, I'm definitely, like, leftist. I don't know, like, exactly what I would label myself as. And I fear I don't know enough about specific labels to label myself correctly. That, and I also, similarly to, like, my gender, I don't particularly like using labels, because certain labels scare people and give people preconceived notions. So I just say that I believe what I believe. And if somebody wants to be like, yeah, like, that is actually so-and-so, then I'm like, okay, I'll take your word for it, I guess. But, at the end of the day, I would just, like, I would like to live in peace, and I would like other people to live in peace and be able to do what they like with who they like, given that they're two consenting adults, of course. And I think that we should focus on taking care of the earth, and we should focus on taking care of each other, and I think that society as a whole would benefit if we tweaked it so that way it takes care of our most vulnerable, so children and the elderly, and the disabled, because, you know, You can either be born disabled, or you'll have an accident and become disabled, or you'll live long enough to become disabled. And, you know, like some shit might happen in your life where you have mental problems or whatever. So I think if we focus on taking care of the most vulnerable groups in society, that it benefits everybody at the end of the day. Because, you know, for example, like installing ramps, wheelchair accessible stuff isn't gonna affect people that are able-bodied and can walk. That's not gonna affect those people. But you know who it's gonna affect? It's gonna affect the people in fucking wheelchairs. And it's gonna make their lives easier. So, like, I don't know. I just feel like things should be more accessible, and people should not have to, you know, work a disgusting amount of hours just to afford bare minimum. Kids shouldn't be going hungry. People shouldn't be going hungry. We have so much, like, we live in such abundance that, like, there shouldn't be anybody that's, like, starving or, like, homeless. So, I'm part of no party. I vote for whoever sounds better no matter what the party, mainly because the political party changes their politics all the time. Yeah, I feel that. I also, like, I fear that I'm very pessimistic when it comes to politicians. I feel like a lot of politicians are just in it for the paycheck rather than to make people's lives better. So, you know, like, a politician can be like, yeah, I'll do this, this, and this. But then, like, they might not actually do all the things that they said they did. That they said they do. So, I'm very pessimistic in terms of that. I think if society was based around not, you know, not having to, like, make the most amount of money or whatever, I think that it would allow people to go into fields that they actually care about. And rather than people, say, becoming a doctor just because the money's good, they would become a doctor because they want to help people. You know what I mean? And I think that billionaires are disgusting people that are exploitative of many groups of people. They shouldn't exist, just straight up. I think it's disgusting. Like, no, not a single person or even a family of, like, 10 people needs 5 fucking yachts and, like, 8 fucking mansions, or, like, nobody needs that. No one fucking needs that. Like, there shouldn't be people starving in the street, and then, like, a couple of people have, like, everything. It's fucked up. You described some of your views. I have a broad understanding of politics. It would be interesting just for funsies if that's cool too. I personally identified as a Luxembourg Marxist, basically destroy the patriarchy, there's no socialism/communism without it, and make communism democratic. Yes, that works despite what the right says. Although I always feel weird explaining I'm a feminist because I'm a guy, and I have a feeling that comes as performative. It's definitely not performative, as long as, you know, you're actually doing the work, and you're actually uplifting the voices of women. It sounds like moderate communism, maybe. I don't know. I just want people to... I would like to live in a society where people are able to pursue their passions without, like, having to worry about how am I gonna pay this next bill? How am I gonna put food on the table for myself? Yeah, it's just... I don't know what I would label myself as. I'm not particularly well-versed in, like, what constitutes as what. Comrade Otter. I think I'm a little bit nervous to use the label communist mainly just because it has a really bad connotation. And people will immediately disregard what you have to... A lot of people will immediately disregard what you have to say. But... yeah, like, that's why I just say, like, I want people to have access to proper healthcare, food, shelter. Society should be protecting children, the elderly, and the disabled first and foremost. Yeah, I don't know. I want everybody to live a happy, healthy life where they can pursue their passions. And that's basically the gist of it. And I don't think there shouldn't be such a wealth disparity. I've said this for a long time, like even when I was younger. I feel like we should go back to barter and trading systems and just completely get rid of capital altogether. Because then that way, like, oh, like if I need eggs, you can trade another thing that you can do. Like, oh, I can fucking fix clothing. I can make custom clothing. Alright, you need so many eggs? Cool. Fucking, I need some socks. I need some socks repaired. USSR theme intensifies. Automated gay space communism. Yes, that's a real thing. It's off compass, but it's still funny. I feel like I've heard that term, like, maybe once. But yeah. They were good communists. Fidel Castro and Che Guevara, Thomas Sankara, huge African player, by the way. Dude was brave enough to emancipate women in the Burkina Faso illiteracy went down 50 to 60% with him. Yeah, I'm not that educated on all of these people. I can't say whether or not they were good or not. I think another reason why I might be a little apprehensive of the label communist is because my dad's side of the family is Polish and Czech. And from what I understand, Poland was fucked over by both fascism and communism. And like I said, I'm not educated enough on history to say exactly what happened and how shit happened and yada yada yada. I've heard a lot of people say, like, well, a lot of the communist societies that have failed were destabilized by other countries. I don't know. I haven't looked into it. I'm not a historian. That is not a question for me. I'm just a person online. I always urge people to do their own research on things. I personally just haven't looked into it because, I fear if I get too deep into political stuff, I get extremely stressed out because the state of the world is so fucked. But, yeah, like, that's why I don't label myself. I just want I just want everyone to live a good life. Nobody should be going hungry. Nobody should be homeless. People should have access to healthcare. Things should be more accessible in general. I just, and I don't want people to have to work 2 jobs or just work an insane amount of hours just to barely make it, because that sucks ass. Ugh, water. I think another thing too about, like, history and stuff like that, is finding unbiased sources. Because, like, yeah, you can read about history, but it's also just like, okay, who wrote this? Were they being as unbiased as possible? Etc., etc. Yeah, that makes sense. Soviet communism was shitty at best, especially under Stalin. Everything after Lenin wasn't really communism, but rather opportunism. IMO. Yeah. Yeah, see, like, that's like a lot of stuff that a lot of people are like, yo, like, that wasn't real communism. It's, like, a very, common thing that I see as well. But, yeah, like, I'm not well-versed enough in history to know shit. And I'm not gonna pretend like I know things. I don't. I'd rather just advocate for everyone. I would rather advocate for things that will improve everyone's lives. Let's just put it that way. Just look at the Molotov-Ribbentrop Pact. A real commie would have never. I have no idea what that is. I will perhaps look into that at some point, maybe. We'll see. I would say maybe, like, my most unhinged opinion, and maybe this isn't unhinged, but, maybe this is, I don't know, because, like, some people are like, oh, it's a mental illness, pedophiles should, be lined up and, shot in Minecraft. No, they should just be shot in real life. They should be cast out from society, just straight up. And rapists. And abusers. And, like, the reason why I say it might be controversial is because some people are like, well, like, they're probably struggling with mental illness, and it's like, I don't know, I don't like that, because it's like, a lot of people struggle with mental illness and they don't do shitty things. I don't like the whole, they did this thing because of mental illness. I don't like excusing shitty behavior with mental illness. I unfortunately see that a lot. You can use that as, like, an explanation, I guess, but you can't use it to justify things. You know what I mean? Like, I would never go and, like, I don't know. I would never go and fuck somebody over and then be like, well, like, it's fine, because, like, I have trauma and, like, I have mental illness problems. Like, no. That's nice. There's lots of people that have trauma and mental illness problems, and they're not shitty people. So. The torment that moralist behavior that moralist behavior causes is insane. Yeah. One thing that always baffles me is when people, this is something that I always hear from, like, religious people, is like, well, like, how do you know it's wrong without, like, God telling you that it's wrong? Because I have empathy and I care about how my actions and words affect other people. I don't need a deity or God to be like, yeah, you'll burn in hell forever if you're a shitty person. I don't. And then they're like, well, like, where did those ideas come from? Not from religion. As far as I'm concerned, the first fucking... And there's actual, like, what's the word? Anthropological evidence, I believe, is the word I'm looking for. There's like fossils or like footprints or some shit, anyways. And it's I think it's bones, actually. I think it's bones. I can't remember exactly what there's anyways. The first, like, a lot of people, anthropologists, I suppose, a lot of anthropologists attribute the first stepping stone to civilization, to the first incident of somebody caring for another human that had a broken leg instead of just leaving them to die in nature. Because that was a thing that used to happen, you know, we're animals. We used to just, if somebody broke their leg and was unable to care for themselves, we used to just leave them to die in nature. Empathy also started then. Taking care of an injured person until they're well enough to care for themselves again, right? So, genuinely, it makes me sick, feel bodily unwell hearing that stuff. Like, if that happens in a movie, I just can't watch the movie because I feel so disgusted. What, like, abuse and, like, rape and stuff, or just, like, with regards to what I said about, like, you need God to tell you what things are right and what things are wrong. I personally think that certain stories can definitely benefit from portraying those issues in a tasteful way, of course. Not to say that things like that are tasteful to begin with, but I think there's tasteful ways to portray those things without glorifying it or romanticizing it. And I do think that they are important stories to tell because, you know, shit like that does happen in real life, unfortunately, of course, but it's important to show how those things affect people because perhaps stories like that will be someone's opening to be like, huh, I never thought of it from that perspective. And this is why media literacy is important too. I fear that a lot of people nowadays, particularly the younger generation, there's an epidemic of it's not that deep, bro. And it's like, okay. Symbolism and messages in story have been a thing since the beginning of time, since we started writing stories. And I really think that because people aren't willing to look past surface level stuff, that not only are they rotting their brain, but they're robbing themselves of a potential new perspective that they otherwise would not have experienced or thought of previously. Oh, I heard about that. Empathy is something we evolved over a long, long time, and some people just disregard it. Yeah. I'm pretty sure it was, like, the bones that some people dug up, and then they were like, oh, like, this person had a fracture. That's odd. Like, these bones are from, like, forever ago. They should have just been left to die, but they weren't. And I think that's really neat. So, and I'm like 99% sure that these bones were like before religion was ever recorded. Perhaps religion has been around longer than we know and we've just lost the text. That's fully, like, that could 100% be the case. Again, I am not fully educated in these matters, so I'm not gonna pretend like I am, but I know bits and pieces of things, and I think the bits and pieces that I have learned about are very interesting. With essay and stuff like that, yeah, that's fair. Look, I am a Christian, and I don't think the Bible is the truth. I just think it has some good guidelines, but also much edited stuff like stoning women. Yes. God is a place of safety, not a tool to excuse disgusting behavior. I agree with you full-heartedly there. I wouldn't consider myself religious. I would say I'm spiritual. And not in, like, I don't want to be, like, I don't want people to be like, oh, fucking hippie. Like, I'm not, you know, I'm not fucking charging crystals or shit like that. I don't necessarily know if there is a god or a deity looking over us or whatever. I would just say that if there is a deity or god, I would say the closest thing to that is, like, tangible, that we can observe is nature. And I think that we should be treating the earth better. And we should be a lot more respectful of nature, and we should be working towards living in harmony with nature rather than, excuse my wording for this, but raping the earth for its resources to the point where it's just fucking everything up. Like, the fact that so many species have gone extinct directly because of humans is so fucked up. I hate that. I hate thinking about that. It's one thing if, you know, nature is like, yep, shit changes, and then, like, a species die out, because that's one thing. That's not something we can control. But when we're, like, literally, like, hunting things to extinction, or, like, we're destroying habitat to an extent where these species are gone now, and, like, we'll never get them back, I think it's really sad. I think, like, the closest thing that I can, like, I think it's called Druidism, is what it's called. It's basically just, like, appreciating nature as, like, its own entity. If that makes sense. That being said, I was raised, like, Catholic Christian, Roman Catholic specifically. And I do agree, there are, like, some good lessons, in the Bible. I think there are good lessons in a lot of different, religious texts. However, I fear that, human nature is shitty, and they will look at, like, the bad things in those, and they'll be like, oh, actually, that's a good idea. Such as, stoning women, or just, like, taking away the rights of people that are different. Shit like that. It is likely that cavemen had religion, but more in the pagan sense, like ghosts, spirits, etc. That's fair. Not TBH, every belief is valid in my opinion. If you think crystals help you, so be it. If you think there are many gods, so be it. God isn't one, truth is what you believe they are. Yeah, like, I'm sorry, like, my comment about, like, the crystals is, like, that wasn't me, like, trying to, like, shit on the people that do that. If that helps you get through your day, by all means. I just don't want, because, like, when people are, like, when I say, like, oh, I'm not religious, I'm spiritual, people, again, they have preconceived notions, and I would prefer if, this is part of the reason why I'm against labels. I would prefer if people, when they heard a label, didn't immediately jump to certain conclusions, but I fear people will do that. But yeah, like, no shade to the people that are like, I'm charging my crystals and whatever the fuck else they do. I don't know. Like, if that works for you and it makes you feel at peace, or, like, if praying to God or Allah or whoever the fuck, if that brings you peace and helps you live a happier life and helps you feel comfort, by all means, do that. As long as you're not being a fucking asshole to people and using your religion or your beliefs to as long as you're not using your beliefs or religion to, like, take away other people's rights and, like, be a piece of shit to them, I don't really care. Dodos, yeah, I'm so sad about dodos. I'm so sad I'll never get to pet a dodo. Officially, I am a Catholic. Personally, I don't like the church. It's just as oppressive as every other institution like it. Yeah, I fear, you know, again, as somebody that was raised Christian, I fear that if Jesus came back and saw the state of the churches nowadays, a majority of the churches nowadays, I think he would be pissed. I'm not gonna lie. Imagine Jesus coming back and then seeing a fucking mega church where they like have like a whole ass performance, bro. Oh my god. I would say the only two things that I believe in that are like absolute and true, in terms of like deities or whatever, is death and nature. Those are the two things. I don't know about like Satan or God or Allah or whatever. Whatever Yahweh, I believe, is what Jewish people refer to God as. I don't know. I can't remember. It's been a while since I've taken religion class. But yeah. Again, as long as people aren't being fucking assholes and being like, well, my God says that you can't do this. Okay. Pretty sure that most teachings are like, hey, if you're a part of this religion, you aren't supposed to do this. You're supposed to follow the teachings, not force other people to follow the teachings. But I don't know. I haven't read every single one. I know for a fact that the Christian Bible does say that. Like, there's a verse about if they're not willing to listen, don't waste your time, basically. Spread the word of God, but like if somebody, you know, is like, I'm good, thanks, don't force it on them. What I mean is that with officially is that it's written down on my registry, but as I said, I personally dislike the church. I think that a lot of institutions of faith are perhaps not what they once were. And not in, like, I don't know. It's written JWHW, if I remember correctly, and it can be said, like, how you can set it, or, like, Jehovah, if I'm not mistaken, but to take my word for it. Yeah, like I said, I haven't done studies in a hot minute. If I have any Jewish viewers, like practicing Jewish viewers, feel free to throw that in the comments of the YouTube VOD. Or if there's anybody in chat right now that is practicing Jewish faith, feel free to chime in. Or don't. It's fine. I could look it up, but I am trying to stay focused on my task at hand, which is working on this lovely drawing of Marzana. They aren't. The church was way worse before. Yeah, they were. What I meant by that is that, like... Actually, I don't know what I meant by that. I retract my statement. I was gonna say that, like... I feel like the church... Not even necessarily just churches, but I feel like certain religious institutions used to do more work in terms of, like, taking care... No, maybe I'm completely wrong. But I feel like they used to take care of the vulnerable a bit more. There's definitely certain institutions that definitely still do that. Like, I believe it's... The Sikh... I think I'm pronouncing that correctly. It's been a minute. The Sikh faith, if I'm remembering correctly, the Sikh faith, they, like, feed the people that go to the... I don't know what the term is. What the equivalent of a mass would be in Sikh faith. Sikh? Is that Sikh? Sikh? I don't know. I'm probably butchering the pronunciation, but... like I said, it's been a minute since I've studied any religious stuff. Crusades, letter of indulgence, etc. Yeah. Yeah, I know about the Crusades. Not super in depth, but there are some knight orders that come from Christianity that are still around, and they also help people through charity. Yeah. I've also heard that, like, certain... I don't know if it's just, like, Christian churches, but I've heard that certain churches will, like, take children in. Maybe that's not, like, a thing anymore, but I think that used to be a thing. Yeah, I heard about them too. They come from India, if I remember. I don't know if it's Sikh or Sikh. I don't know. I should look up the pronunciation at some point, but... you have deep respect for them. From my very basic understanding of the religion, I think that they're pretty chill. Whose fault God was it? I don't think so, mate. I don't think he wanted you to kill people. Kill Arabs for the holy city. Yeah, the Crusades are fucked up. Let's just put it that way. It's been a minute since I've studied any religious stuff, for sure. Ugh. They are interesting historically speaking, even close the subject to learn about, but from a purely humane to look at it, it's insanely disgusting. Yeah, there's a lot of, like, really fucked up things that happened in the past, I fear. And there's a lot of fucked up things happening currently, I fear. I think that the dark underbelly of humanity is quite fucked up. I will say one thing I do enjoy about just like religious stuff in general is the architecture of the places of worship. There's a lot of really, really nice architecture. I'm always a sucker for nice architecture, though. Let's go back to something more, or rather less depressing, eh? I really like the drawing, worthy though any lore. Thank you, first of all. And secondly, this is my D&D character. Her name is Marzana. She is an Aarakocra, which is a bird race, like a humanoid bird race. She's based off of an Indian condor, which is it's like the bird with like the largest wingspan. Her name is... I don't know what its exact origins are. I think it originates from a couple of different cultures, but her name is associated with winter and death. And I thought it was fitting because, well, she's an Andean condor, and condors are a type of vulture, or perhaps vultures are a type of condor. I don't know. Either way, they eat flesh. They are nature's garbage disposal. They will eat bones and flesh of dead animals and such. But yeah, she is a raging lesbian. She hates men, which is kind of funny because her entire party is comprised of men. She only joined them because she's like, I can swindle these guys and get money out of them. And she has IBS, and she shits on the floor very frequently. She's also a bard. She plays the trumpet. Don't ask me how she plays the trumpet without lips. She just can. She's just built different. And she has a cool fucking rapier. But yeah, I really like how I did her design. Not to toot my own horn or anything. Get it? Because she plays the trumpet. But, I really, really like her design. I think I cooked with her design. But yeah, she's my D&D character. Though with the largest wingspan, maybe I am dumb though. No, that was only in your... I thought that was the bearded vulture. Maybe it was the bearded vulture. Actually, let me look it up. I'm pretty sure in birds with largest wingspan. Maybe it's just one of the largest wingspans. Okay, it's not... Sorry. Andean condors are number 3 for largest wingspan. The largest... Yeah, so an Andean condor has a wingspan of 3 meters or 9.8 feet. Number 1 is a wandering albatross with a wingspan of 3.2 meters or 10.5 feet. 10.5 feet. 10 foot 6 inches. Yeah. Anyways. And then number 2 is called a Cenarius. I think I'm pronouncing that correctly. Cenarius vulture with a wingspan of 3 meters or 9.8 feet. So same. So technically Andean condors and Cenarius vultures are tied for 2nd place, technically. Technically. I have the feeling a trumpet with a special mouthpiece isn't far-fetched. I think she's just built different. I love animals that are deemed unlikable by some. The bearded vulture, for example, hyenas, sharks, etc. Yeah, I feel like vultures are hated on a lot, but they're really, really fucking cool. So, I wanted to make a character. Also, I just like birds in general. I think birds are fucking cool. So, yeah. I wanted to make a cool fucking character. Thought about the 𝚁𝙸𝙽𝚀. They are extinct already, though. That sucks. But yeah, I just like birds. And I wanted to make a bird character. And like, a lot of people are like, wow, you didn't make an otter character? And it's like, yeah. I wanted to make a birdie. I love otters, though, too. Particularly, river otters. Eurasian or North American. The Eurasian ones are cuter, in my opinion. But North American river otters are also pretty fucking cute. And a lot of people are like, oh, like, But sea otters, though. Don't get me wrong, sea otters are cute, but in terms of cuteness for, like, other otters, I feel like they're not as cute as other types of otters, in my opinion. No hate to them, though. They're still cute as fuck. I saw a bearded vulture in real life once. They are deemed a bad omen in the Alps, seen as a sign of death and misfortune, but man, the aura on that bird. Yeah. Birds have a lot of aura. That's actually what the Roman standard was inspired by. The 𝚁𝚸𝚃𝚂. The Romans were able to witness those beautiful creatures. I'm sad that, like, I can't see extinct animals, except maybe in, like, a taxidermy form. I forget, what the bird is called, but there was, like, I think it was a bird in Hawaii? Maybe? It was like a songbird of some sort. It starts with a K. I don't know how to pronounce the name. But, there's, like, audio recordings of the last male, like, calling out for a mate and, like, not getting any response. And it makes me sad. Or, Carolina parakeets. Like, we used to have parakeets that were, native to North America, and they are extinct now, unfortunately. And I can't remember why. I know it's because of humans being fuckheads, but, I can't remember the exact reason as to why. Why? I think it was just, like, habitat loss, I believe. Moas are gigantic flightless birds, by the way. They were the main food source of the 𝚁𝚸𝚃𝚂. They were close to 2.5 meters. Like, tall? Or, like, wingspan? I don't know what that is in feet, but I think Canadians is meters anyways. Tall. Oh. Yeah, so I am in, like, a weird generation of Canadian. So, like, older generations were raised on feet and inches, just like, what's it called? Imperial system? Yeah, imperial system. So older generations were raised on the imperial system, but I'm in, like, a weird, like, middle generation. So, like, I use both interchangeably. So I can visualize in meters roughly for certain things. We use kilometers for like speed when it comes to driving. However, I use pounds when it comes to weight. Like if I'm weighing myself, I'll use pounds. Or like if when I used to work out, I would be using pounds instead of like kilograms. For like carpentry and stuff, I will use feet and inches. For height, I usually refer to myself in feet and inches. But like if somebody were like, oh, like they're so many meters tall, like I can kind of like visualize it sometimes. There's that. What else? I use Celsius for weather outside. I use Fahrenheit for oven temperature. I use Fahrenheit and Celsius for like internal food temperature. I can go both ways. Usually for work I do Fahrenheit though. What else? Yeah, I'm in like a weird middle generation. Losing some pounds, America, Great Britain, yeah. I think a funny little like I think this is like a specifically Canadian trait too. I think a funny like Canadian trait is when somebody's like, "Oh, like how far of a drive is that?" We don't say like, "Oh, it's so many miles or kilometers away." We say, "Oh, it's about a 40-minute drive." It's about a 40-minute drive, 30 if you go over the speed limit. I don't think there's like any other country that does that. Maybe I'm wrong. If you're from a country other than Canada that does that, let me know. Whether you're chilling in a chat or whether you're watching the VOD at some point, let me know. I would be interested to know. But yeah. Do you mean measuring drives in time? Yeah. Yeah, like if somebody is like, oh, like how far is like this town from this town? I'm never like, oh, it's this many kilometers away. I'm always like, oh, that's like an hour-long drive. Walks too, it's just useful. Yeah, same thing with walks. It's like, oh, it's about a 10-minute walk, 15-minute walk. For walking, I don't even, like, use time for walking a lot of the time, though, because I feel like that varies a lot, depending on your height and, like, stride and, like, how fast you walk. Like, I am a fast walker. I can get from point A to point B pretty quickly if I'm just locked the fuck in. But, like... And I think I'm, like, a little bit taller than, like, the average height for women in my country. Okay, now I'm getting distracted, but we're gonna look this up. Average height of women in Canada. Let's see. 2026. Where's Canada? Canada. Okay, so average height for women in Canada is 1.65 meters or 5 foot 4 inches. So yes, I am slightly taller than average for my country. What about men? What is men's? Let's see. Oh my god, Netherlands is at the top for average male height, with Montenegro not far behind, and then Estonia, Denmark, Sweden, Why are they so tall? Poland. Where's Canada? Okay. Canada is... That's rude. So average height for a man in Canada is 1.78 meters or 5 foot 10. How the hell do I care how many kilometers that way? How long do I need to get there? Yeah, exactly. I'm a very fast walker too, which is annoying to my comrades because when we walk somewhere, they just take on my walking speed and have to tell me to slow down. Never took myself as a fast walker. I feel that Jimmy, my boyfriend, he's a bit of a slow walker. And sorry, I had to block some fucking nerd that is using generative AI dog shit. Since I'm not really slim nor sportsy, I'm not, like, as fit as I once was. I think when I start walking, I just kind of lock in, and I just don't realize how fast I'm walking. If I'm walking somewhere, I'm walking to fucking get there and get home. I'm like the average for German guys. I am 1.73 meters. At least last time I measured. Fair enough. Nordic people are tall primarily due to a combination of genetic factors, specifically ancestry from tall Eurasian steppe, I don't know if I'm pronouncing it correctly, pastoralists, and high-protein, nutrient-rich diets, including high dairy. Yeah, I guess they do be eating a lot of fish and stuff. But, like, so does Japan, and Japan is very short. At least compared to Canada. Oh, now I want sushi, though. Specifically salmon sashimi. Dude, salmon sashimi is so fucking good for no reason. That's what Google says. I ain't that smart to know. Fair enough. Any smart people in chat? No, I'm just kidding. No, I know that, like, physical characteristics are very much, determined by your environment. That's about as far as my understanding goes. I don't know the history of countries well enough to be like, yeah, like, this place invaded this place, and this happened here, and this particular event caused this. Like, I don't know. I don't know shit in detail. I see some birds flying out around my window. I think it's the local pigeon crew. When the weather starts getting nicer, I want to start feeding the pigeons in my town. And perhaps even the crows as well, and then I can have crows and pigeons follow me around, because that would be fucking epic. Maybe that'll be my motivation to wake up earlier and fix my sleep schedule, because I've been on, like, gremlin sleep schedule lately. I've been staying up till, like, 5, 6 in the morning, and then sleeping until, like, 1, 2 p.m. But today, I woke up at 9:30 in the morning, because I had my doctor's appointment at 11 a.m. And my doctor is, like, a 30-minute drive away from me. So... And I successfully fought off the urge to take a nap when I got home. And now I'm, like, at the point of being overtired. But I fear... I'm at the point of overtiredness where I don't feel tired anymore. But I fear that by the time I finish my D&D session, which will probably be around midnight, I'm still gonna not be tired, and then I'm gonna try to lay down and sleep, and it's just not gonna happen. And then I'm gonna stay up really late on, like, 5 hours or less of sleep. I don't like my height, especially since other people around my age are more 1.8 meters, not 1.75 to 1.8 meters. I am okay with my height, but sometimes I do wish I was taller so that I could look down on all the peasants and scare people. A group of calls is crow to murder. That is correct. It is. Fun thing I remembered in Germany, when someplace isn't far away, we say, I'm not gonna attempt to pronounce that because I will butcher the fuck out of that, which means fall over twice and you are there. That's very funny. I actually love when countries have their own, like, silly little sayings. I think, German is, like, one of those languages that just happens to have very silly little sayings like that. I always like learning about other countries and languages' tongue twisters. There was a while where I was studying Japanese and I was using this app, not sponsored by the way, I was using this app called HelloTalk, and it's like a language exchange app. So basically the way it works is you input the language that you're trying to learn, and then you input your native language, and then you match with other people that are trying to learn your language that are native in the language that you're trying to learn, and you can, like, go back and forth and have them correct your grammar and spelling, etc., etc. And I remembered you can also, like, post to, like, a timeline basically that allows native speakers of the language you're trying to learn read your stuff, and then they'll correct it and whatnot. Anyways, I remembered asking about Japanese tongue twisters, and then there was one about, like, Tokyo and Kyoto. I can't remember what it was. I'd have to look it up again, but oh my god. It's a mouthful. May I present even Germans struggle with this bullshit? Again, not gonna attempt to... I can't even speak German to begin with. But that looks... I can, like, imagine what it might sound like in my head, and I feel like that would be difficult to say. I think one of my favorite English ones is skunk on a stump, jump, skunk, jump. Trying to say that, like, really fast is very difficult. Or, how much wood could a woodchuck chuck if a woodchuck could chuck wood? Woodchuck could chuck as much as a woodchuck could chuck wood. What other ones are in English? There's like a Peter Piper packed a pinch of pickled peppers or something. Or pinched a pack of pickle. I don't know. I don't remember that one. But there's like the Peter Piper one. There's also body or oh my god, I already fucked it up. Betty bought tongue twister. Hang on, I have to look up with this one. Okay. Betty bought some butter, but she said this butter's bitter. If I put it in my batter, it will make my batter bitter. But a bit of better butter will surely make my batter better. So she bought a bit of butter, better than her bitter butter, and she put it in her batter, and her batter was not bitter. So 'twas better Betty bought a bit of better butter. Now I have to look up the Peter Piper. Is it Peter Piper or Peter Parker? Peter Piper picked a peck of pickled peppers. A peck of pickled peppers Peter Piper picked. If Peter Piper picked a peck of pickled peppers, where's the peck of pickled peppers Peter Piper picked? Yeah. Those are the ones that I remember. I stumble over those words even thinking them as a native German. My, like, this is, like, just like me, like, my very anglicized ass just, like, looking at it and being like, I could maybe kind of imagine what that might sound like. So. Okay, now I have to look up the fucking Japanese one. Hang on. Tokyo Japanese tongue twister. Where's the Tokyo one? Oh god. I don't want easy ones. I want the... Give me the one about Tokyo. This is not the one that I was thinking of. Never mind. I can't find the one that I was thinking of. That's okay. I love jokes that only work in their native language. Sounds like Stalingrad. I wanted to tell a Russian joke, but someone just stole it. Oh. That's like, I forget, like, the context to this joke, but there's a joke in English talking about, like, European, but, like, hang on, like, European, but it sounds like your peen. I can't remember like the setup to that joke, but there's a joke in English, something like that. Did you know German slang has a lot of English lease words? Cool, chill, weird, goofy, drip, sick, IMO, stuff like that. I think that's like pretty common, I fear. Because English is like the language. Not to like not like bragging or anything when I say that. Does English have words that are leased from other languages? Oh yeah, 100%. Like, a lot of people use soup du jour, which is soup of the day in French. What are some other ones? There's other ones. I'm trying to think. We use some, like, German words, like, oh god, I'm gonna butcher the pronunciation of this. Schadenfreude? I know I butchered that really hard, but that is something that people use, yes. What else? What else? What other words? I'm trying to think of other ones. I can't think of any other ones off the top of my head, but there's definitely other ones. I know that Polish has some Russian slang. If my Polish friend didn't pull my leg, that wouldn't surprise me. There's definitely other words that we borrow from other languages. I can't. The joy of derived seeing from others fail, which is not actually true. It's more like it is pleasant to see others struggle because it makes your own failures seem more human. Yeah. Yeah, I can't think of any other ones. There's definitely other ones, though. If I think of any, I will say them, but as of right now... Translated, it would be like damaged joy. Yeah, there's like a lot of there's a lot of words in other languages that can't be directly translated into English because they're very specific, and English doesn't have super specific words. Like, we have super specific words, but like not that specific for the most part. But yeah. We definitely We definitely feel... We definitely steal some words sometimes. Or like a lot of English words are derived from other languages. I saw, there was like somebody once that said that English is just like 7 different languages on a trench coat, which is true if you look into like the etymology of different English words. It's like, yeah, like it actually originated in like Latin or like German or Danish or whatever the fuck. In Bavaria, insane dialect game in Germany, by the way, is a Bavarian. I understand Austrians, but in the Northern Germans, for example, we have a lot of French words. I used to date a guy that was in Bavaria. And I'm like aware that Bavarian dialect is like very different from what would be considered like standard German dialect. From when Napoleon occupied us, for example, parapluie, I don't know, I probably butchered that. And High German umbrella. Standard German would be High German, and I struggle speaking that without my dialect sleeping in. I always find dialects to be super interesting, and like how they develop. Silesian is cool. It's also called water Polish. It's, as far as I understand, a bit more Germanized Polish. I can't fucking speak anymore from when, you know, we owned Silesia. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that correctly, but... oh, golly. Oh my god, I've been working on this for 2 hours already. Damn, I didn't realize. I will be right back. I think I'm gonna take a quick stretch break, and maybe I have to flip my laundry, and I gotta... what else do I have to do? I feel like there's something else that I have to do, and I don't remember what, but I will be right back. And I will continue working on this. And get some more, what's it called? Progress done on this. As you can see, I struggle with English, even though it is my native language. Okay, I will be right back in like 5-10 minutes. Okay, I have returned. I have returned. No, wait, let him outside? I didn't assassinate the dog. What? 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 Because I said I had to take out the dog, and I don't think that's correct. Wait, when did you say that? I didn't see the message of taking the dog out, but, that's, like, correct. That is a way. You could also just say I let the dog out. Oh my goodness. If I'm quiet, it's because I'm locked in. Ooh. My nose is itchy. I am such a slow artist. I'm just a little turtle. I used to be able to finish like a couple of fully rendered pictures in the same day. And that's probably because my understanding of anatomy and such was not as good as it currently is, but I do miss being able to crank out art like that. I can maybe finish like one fully rendered art piece per day if I'm lucky. Depends on if I'm doing a background or like how intense the lighting is, or if I want to add fun things like screen tones or other things or special effects or whatever. I accidentally starved myself today, forgot to eat, felt pain to my tummy, just said I'll eat in the moment and turned into writhing on my bed from pain. Then I ate bread with a sausage and that was that. I have done that a few times. I have trouble recognizing hunger cues until I'm, like, nauseous. I fear. I've heard starving yourself to get fit is a really bad idea for several reasons. It's unhealthy, and also if you don't eat, fat stores longer, actually. Why does getting skinny have to be so hard? You don't have to be skinny to be fit. Obviously, like, there's issues that come with being overweight, but you can definitely, like, weigh more and be healthy or more fit. What's up, Name? How are you doing? Welcome, welcome. I hope you're having a great time zone. Yeah, I'm having an early stream because, well, I was awake early. And I have D&D tonight. And I forgot that I said that I would actually go to my D&D session tonight. So I'm not gonna have time to start at my normal time. Plus, I figured since I have to wake up early anyways, I might as well try to fix my sleep schedule. So I figured I would at least attempt to get some shite done before I have to go and pretend to be Marzana, who is the character I'm drawing right now. But yeah, if you are, like, not eating to lose weight, it's not good, because, yeah, it does put your body into starvation mode. It also slows down your metabolism if you are constantly, like, not eating. As far as I know, like, if it's losing weight that you want to do, you just have to figure out what your base calorie burning is, because, like, everybody's, like, base amount of calories that they burn while they're, like, resting is different. And then just, like, track how many calories you're intaking versus how much calories you're burning. I feel very not beautiful, which I consider so weird because I shouldn't really care that much. My ex never was bothered, but still, I don't feel comfy going swimming probably because of that and stuff like that. I fear that is a common thing for larger people. And, like, it's totally valid to feel insecure. but, like, also being skinny isn't the end-all be-all. You can be skinny and unhealthy. I'm not, like, super petite or anything by any means, but I definitely... I'm not fit whatsoever. By the way, since yesterday, my life is a lot less bleak. Well, that's good. The thing is, I ain't even round. I just have what you call a beer belly. My belly is round. My arms, legs are rather normal or even muscular. Yeah, all people that are, like, chubby or, like, fat have, like, insanely strong legs. Like, also, like, a big part of, like, burning fat is also, like, your genetics as well. Like, certain people are genetically predisposed to hold on to weight, and, like, stress will also play a part in that. Your cortisol levels play a huge part in, like, if you can lose weight easily or not. There's also, like, medical conditions like thyroid issues. For context, on my life not being as bleak, I was single for the last 4 months, but we left on good terms. I took lots of time to reflect. It was my fault. I was too insecure and an idiot, and yesterday we talked after 3 months of just not, and we will slowly try it again. Nice. I hope that it goes well for you. Hello, Mia. How are you? Welcome, welcome. I hope you're having a great time zone. You remember me? Vaguely. I'm pretty bad at remembering people, unless if they're regular. Would I be considered a regular viewer? Yeah, you're regular. I've seen you enough where I know who you are and I remember who you are. There's some people that will, like, pop in once in a while, and I'm like, oh, okay, like, I remember. And then there's, like, some people that I'm really bad at, I don't know. I fear I just have a bad memory. Friendly neighborhood commie. I used to be in your lives all the time, but I kind of left for a while. I also wasn't streaming for a while. I vaguely remember. Vaguely. Older forgetting her day ones, JK. There's only, like, a couple of people that were my day ones. I still feel scandalized by the fact that your taskbar is just an overlay and doesn't actually look like that. Yeah, I wish it did look like that, but I don't think I can customize it to look like that. Maybe if I used Linux I could, but I am too big of a gamer to use Linux, I fear. Well, from what I gathered, it is possible on Windows, but it's a bit of a hassle, and I ain't willing to go down the rabbit hole, but theoretically you could. Yeah. It probably requires me to, like, download a bunch of shit and fucking... I don't feel like putting that effort in. I fear I'm lazy. I am thinking about going to bed in clothes, shoes, etc. Letting my feet dangle from the bed. I ain't comfy, but I would wake up from the inevitable cramp. So I wouldn't be late for school. Thoughts? I mean, you do you. I personally wouldn't be able to sleep like that, but do what you gotta do. Who wears shoes inside, though? That's my question. I was hunting just before, and I was too lazy to get them off. Also, they had like 3 centimeters to my height, and I don't feel small. I mean, if you were hunting with them on, you probably should not wear them to bed, even if they are dangling off, because I fear that even if they are dangling off the bed, in your sleep, you may pull them onto your bed, and you will get dirt and everything. I would say if the clothing is clean, sure, go for it, but if it's the stuff that you have worn already, you should probably, like, change. So that you don't get dirty clothing grit in your bed. To be honest, fuck it, then I will be a few minutes too late to school. Fuck that anyway. I mean, if you're only gonna be a few minutes late to school, then, like, why bother? Why bother stressing? Oh. Because my school is an authoritarian hellhole. Like, just wake up earlier. My feet are cold. I must cover them with this blanket. Just wake up earlier. I wish I could. Nothing helps. I got such a deep sleep. I don't hear my wake up thingy. Your alarm. Maybe you should get one of those alarm clocks that like vibrate the bed or something. I don't know. Don't you guys have free healthcare in Germany? I feel like being that deep of a sleeper is like maybe an issue that you should get checked out. Yep, we do. It was called a human... It was deemed a human right back in 1880s, if I remember right. It was introduced by Otto von Bismarck. Yeah, maybe you should get that checked out. That could be like an issue. If it's like impacting your life that significantly. It might be worth looking into. Well, I would just have to go to bed at normal times. I can basically calculate when I will wake up without excessive noise. 10 alarms. Always sleep around 8 hours. Then just go to sleep at a normal time. And then you won't have to worry about it. Next issue, if I would do that, I wouldn't have a private life because then only school and work would exist. I love living in such a free-system riveting truly. Then I guess your other option is to get your deep sleep issue checked out. If you want to survive off of less sleep. Because unfortunately the system is probably not going to change anytime soon, I fear. If you could choose one animal to own without legal or ethical issues, what would it be? I'm assuming in this scenario that money is not an issue either. I don't know. I don't know what I would, what animal. Maybe like a large parrot of some sort. Because then I could have a big aviary. And then I could have a bunch of different kinds of birdies. You like birdies? I do like birdies a lot. Ooh, you know what? Actually, you know what kind of parrot that I would really want to have? It's called a hawk-headed parrot. They're super pretty. I will show you a picture of a hawk-headed parrot. They're very pretty. They're super cute. This is what they look like. These feathers can go down though, so they don't always like look like that. But it's like a crest, and when they get excited, it goes up. Oh. They're very pretty. They're like a medium-sized bird, but I really like the colors on them, and I like that their feathers stick out. I think it's very cute. I would own a hyena. I think they're cool, or a bearded vulture. Just imagine pulling up the function of a bearded vulture. It looks like a flower. They're so beautiful. They're very, very pretty. Vultures would be cool. Yeah. That or like an otter would be cool, even though they're stinky. Oops. What is... Hang on. Now I have to look up. What do their wings look like? Oh, okay, that white is just on the outside part. What about a female Andean condor? They might be a little bit different. These are all pictures of males. That's also a male. There's a female Andean condor. Yeah, it's also a male. Okay, how about a female? Female Andean condor. Okay, they do. It's on the outside as well. Why am I dropping 5.2% of my frames right now? I don't like that. Oh, fuck. I'm gonna go sleep now. Bye-bye. Lots of fun. Okay, thanks, Red. I appreciate you for popping in and keeping me company during stream. I hope you sleep well, and I hope school goes well tomorrow. Have a great rest of your time zone. Oops. I hear a budgie behind me. What? What do you want? Oh. Oopsie. I think I might call it a stream because my session is supposed to start soon. So we got quite a bit done on this, and I'll be able to work on this while I am doing my D&D session. Yeah, alright. I'm gonna call it a stream now. I don't know when I'm gonna be live next, but I think my next stream... I don't know if I'm gonna do more art or if I'm gonna play Dispatch maybe, but we'll figure it out. Either way, it's been fun, it's been awesome, it's been great. Thank you guys so much for joining me. I appreciate every single one of you. And thanks for keeping me company while I work on some art. I'm gonna try to do more art streams, because I used to do like 2 art streams a week. But I'm gonna try to do more art streams, and if not more art streams, I'll just try to create more art in general, now that I am a bit more energetic. But yeah, thank you guys so much for joining me. I will see you guys next time. In the meantime, stay safe, peace, and have a great rest of your time zone. Bye-bye!